What's good, everybody? What's going on, man? It's Stephen Qualls II, aka Mr. Qualified. It's your boy, and we're back for another episode of the Just Checking In podcast. Donaldo,
What up?
how you feeling today, good brother?
I'm great. I'm clean. My hair's together. I got a
Indeed,
shirt on. Y'all can read. Well, here, can you read it? I never argue. I just explain why I'm right. So
that is
that's
that is a
me.
very it's a very Leo thing. It's a very you thing, but I mean, hey, I can't
Whatever
say
you was about to say was a compliment. So it's okay.
I can't say it's a wrong statement. I can't necessarily say it's inaccurate. You know, uh,
What two things can be true?
indeed, one of my favorite sayings. Are you excited about today's couple of topics? I think it's really introspective. I think it'll produce some good things.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what you got to say, but also I was really thinking like, what is on my mind?
Truly, truly. Well, yeah, we can just hop into the first question then. Our first question for today is what's been on our hearts and on our minds lately? I didn't realize how kind of like vague of a question that is when you kind of ask it that way, because there's like that could be so many different things. But if you want to start off, where do you feel like your heart and mind is these days?
Probably like a pinball machine for real. I'm just a boo, 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 all over the place. So I'm like, where is my mind? Where is my heart? But for real, it's focused. Like,
Mm.
and not to say I sound surprised, like, wow, you focused for the first time. Like, no, but I really feel like laser focused on some goal setting type shit. Like I really did that and sat down this year. Well, I guess last month because the year just started, but really thinking about what I want to accomplish this year because color me surprised when I found out last year that manifesting works. So now I'm like, let me put pen and paper and really figure this stuff out. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I've been at war between both. I feel like my heart has been in one place saying one thing, and my mind has been in another place, kind of like, suggesting other things in the sense that I think my heart is really trying to push me to go after like my dreams being all things related to qualify, my dreams being finding some type of creative lane to become part of my everyday situation, as opposed to a 9 to 5 to get by, whereas my mind is survival. Like, what do you have to do to make it to the next day, to make it through this week, this month, without being negative, without feeling like you're failing, without, yeah, just feeling like you're behind. And it like I try to be positive. I try to be intentional about affirming myself and speaking to myself in a positive tone.
Mhm.
And it gets difficult, but I don't want to say that to make it seem like it's impossible. But that kind of tug of war has been I felt it more heavily like the first 2 months of this year. My running thing this week has been March is the beginning of my 2024. We just gonna act like January and February. Hey, they didn't really happen. My new year was March 1st. You know what I'm saying? But that's kind of where I'm at, heart and mind wise.
Well, it's funny that you say it too, because when you were in survival mode, and this is coming from somebody who was in survival mode for a long time, it's hard to see anything outside of surviving because it's really just some checkpoint shit. Like you got to get to the next point and be okay. But you can also still dream while you surviving. Like survival mode doesn't mean the absence of optimism. Like you just kind of get stuck in the tyranny of the immediate. Like, I need this. I need to make sure I have $50 to pay this bill. I need to make sure I can eat. I need to make sure I can do these things. But what happens once you survive? Like, you get past that point and be like, okay, that wasn't great, but okay, I made it. So now you can't just keep going in that kind of survival mode. You got to start thinking optimistically. And I know it's kind of like rose-colored glasses, but I mean, I was fighting for my life a couple of years ago. We're really like last year, let's be real. Um, and it was hard to see the forest through the trees for real. But At some point, I was just like, I've been through worse. And even if that was a lie, I just needed to believe. I just needed to believe that whatever happened before was worse. So I'm prepared to get through this. So, like, my mind and my heart, maybe it had this like competition or opposition or whatever it is that you're experiencing. But I think my mind and my heart still knew that I was going to survive what I was going through. Um, so I mean, I hear you, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't think
Yeah.
that, but I realize that if I'm so focused on the survival, for me, don't think that I'll actually survive because it's just like I need to get here. I need to get here. And now I got the deck, excuse me, stacked against me in an impossible way. So I had to believe that something was going to come from that. No, you got a friend.
I'm not sure you got a friend.
Twin, wave you can.
Yeah, if y'all can see me and Donald twinning today, obviously. Unplanned,
Not coordinated at all. Not
unintentional. So
coordinated at all.
what can we say? But
That's my brother.
we look here. But no, you make great points, and I think that's been part of my journey up to this point. Because as you know, I feel like I've said this statement or have spoken about this in some capacity for the past couple of years. But that feeling of kind of like just floating, like you're not really in control. You're just kind of going with the flow of the water, whatever metaphor you want to use, right? And I think, like you said, a huge part of that is understanding that surviving cannot become all that life is for you. Even if the reality is that that's the season you're in, even if that season goes much longer than you expected, um, it just can't be the only thing that you see, right? So I have definitely been working on that, and I think that what's helped is trying to find a challenge within the challenge of surviving, right? So for me, it's been discipline. Can I find ways to make sure that I'm internally motivated and disciplined at all times? Because, like you said, when you get finished in this survival season, and okay, now it's time to live, like all these same things still apply. There's just not as many obstacles, so to say, once you're kind of out of, survival mode. So the discipline part is kind of been my biggest challenge of like still get yourself a routine, even if that routine isn't bringing you out of the survival mode immediately. That routine should be something that once you are done, you can take that into whatever the next season or next phase is, and that's just something you can now build upon because that's already something you've kind of like ingrained, in yourself. So that's the work as of now. And I guess that kind of leads into the next question too, because I would say that's the priority for this season of my life that I'm in is really that discipline and routine aspect. I guess partially as a man, I know it applies to all, everybody, but as a man specifically, I think that without routine and discipline, I don't want to really talk on expectations, but I know what I want to do as a man, who I want to be as a man, is based in having discipline and being able to stay motivated, even when it's not, even when it might be delayed gratification or the results might be delayed. So I know that's a priority for me. What are some priorities for you in this season? Speaking to what you referenced earlier.
I have given up on the priority of discipline. That is not a word in my vocabulary. Other people put that on my life, and hey, I receive it, but I'm not a disciplined person. I'm convinced, I might be a little delusional. I put forth some effort, but discipline, I don't think is something that really fits me. I feel like I'm a little, plastic bag floating through the wind a little bit sometimes. But in terms of priorities, well, you know what? The only place I have discipline, let me not lie on myself. There are three people I will not lie to. It is my therapist, my physician, and myself. So let me tell the truth here. I'm financially disciplined, and that is what one of my priorities is this year. I found myself in some debt for a number of reasons. Then I got out of debt, and then I bought a house, and I got in debt. So, um, but it has been my goal after learning about manifesting last year to say, all right, commit to a goal. If you're really going to do this, like I'm a numbers dude. I like math. I understand how numbers work, right? So it's just like if I don't spend this, I have this. That means I can apply this somewhere. So I guess my main priority right now in life is financial flexibility. I'm going to work on financial freedom later.
Mm,
But shout out to me because by the time y'all see this episode, the credit card is going to be paid off. So I'm very disciplined when it comes to that. So I would say that is where I am because I know Qualls you like to call certain folks me old. But I'll be 34 this year. And I feel like my 30s is shaping up to be what I thought my 20s would be.
mm.
My 20s, albeit grown, I still felt like some experienced teenager, right? I was having fun. I was broke. I was on my own. But now I am having fun. I'm not as broke. I am on my own, but like in a seasoned way, in an experienced way, and to say like, oh wow, people say your 30s or your 20s with money. Hello, I should have answered that phone call a long time ago because I get it now, but I don't just want to be in that survival mode we were just talking about. I want to be able to have some flexibility to say, yeah, I got a few extra $100 to figure out how I want to maneuver, as opposed to this $300 that I have has to cover everything. So my season right now is like I was joking about the pinball machine, but I'm very much on a spring back right now. So as soon as I go and I'm all over the place, then it's gonna be good. But right now, I just want to draw back, prepare myself specifically financially, and this is the year to do it.
Do you feel like you either thrive or do you prefer to operate in somewhat of a chaos? I say that referencing the pinball machine analogy that you used. Is that something that you either wanted to or just within experiencing things, have you naturally kind of become comfortable operating kind of with things being all over the place, like an organized chaos in a sense? Do you prefer that, or is that just something you've become accustomed to and you know how to operate in if that's where life is at the moment?
Ooh, what came first, the chicken or the egg? I like organized chaos, but I don't know if it's because I like it or because I've become accustomed to it. You
Okay.
So it's not like something I woke up and was like, ooh, give me organized chaos today. But it was like, I know how to operate in this. I know how, and not even on some like narcissistic shit, but I know how to plant myself and have everybody and everything orbit around me.
Mm,
So in that, I have to be still and understand that this organized chaos. So that meme or whatever, or homegirl looking at the equations like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, excuse me. you get what you get what I'm saying? But like, I like that because I'm a problem solver. So I need to see what's going on over here, what's going on over there, and then I can maneuver. So I don't know that I like it as much as I know how to navigate it well, because to the discipline part, discipline to me feels very rigid in a way that I know I am not.
mm.
I used to present rigid, but that's just because I think, a slow start to things. So it was just like I need step one to go to step two to go to step three. But now I'm like, give me these puzzle pieces. We've got to figure this shit out together. So um yeah, organized chaos is just something that I understand and can navigate well. I don't seek it out. Well, what about you?
I, I was gonna say same, but honestly, I think I kind of prefer it. For me, it's kind of more so to
Or
what you said.
organized chaos?
Yes.
Okay.
So kind of, but more so in the way that you explained it. So chaos in the sense of there's a lot of things happening. And in a weird way, it was funny that you mentioned the narcissism piece, because I don't think that being able to plant yourself and have people and things orbit around you has to be a selfish thing. I think that more so comes from the aspect of, okay, how do I be still and find comfort in what stillness means for me, as well as
Mhm.
find comfort in how people may react to whatever that stillness is in terms of what's orbiting around me. So I really liked how you put that together. But in the same sense, I think that's how I kind of see organized chaos for myself, because when I think about qualify, right? Like, and that's just really one piece. But when I think about that, there's three shows. There's a schedule for each show. There's like a master schedule that I try to follow. There's an understanding of what that looks like from a content standpoint. And so to me, that's organized chaos. That's a lot of individual things that go to a bigger picture, but all of them kind of need their own individual attention. And for me, I love the challenge of building, like you said, putting that puzzle together. But I guess in a way, the more comfortable I become, it doesn't feel like chaos. It's
Hmm.
just a lot of things going on at once. And I remember something my mom told me. It was funny because it was around the time I was starting my journey to alpha. And I was talking to her, I was just saying, like, it's just a lot. It's a lot of things that gotta get done. A lot of things I gotta figure out. And she was just like, if speaking how you speak to yourself is important. She said, if you keep telling yourself this is a lot every day, it'll feel like that list never gets shorter, as opposed to, okay, what are things you can knock out today? Okay, that's three
Hmm.
things off of a list of 10, right? So the next day you only got seven. What's the next three things you gonna do? As opposed to every day, oh, this is a lot. This is a lot.
Yeah.
Because you start to really that starts to really resonate with you. And now everything just feels like a lot. So yeah, that's kind of where I stand on it. I don't that feels like a little bit of both, but
Yeah.
I feel like I operate in it well, and I kind of invite it because I feel like that with that challenge that makes me kind of step up to the occasion, if you will, even if it is on a daily basis and like a micro dose.
Yeah. I think well, I was hearing you talk about organized chaos, and I realized I've lived it over and over and over again. So at this point, is all I know. I think I love my family, right? Shout out to them. But being a family member is sometimes organized chaos, right? I taught for years. You want to learn organized chaos? Be in a classroom. And I don't even care if, y'all were 18, 19, and 20 chaotic because it's a chaotic time in y'all's lives, right? You have high school students that graduate, go on to college, and now we like be an adult, and they're like, "Yo, I was just raising my hand to go to the bathroom like 6 months ago. What you mean I got to be an adult? Like, what is this? That's organized chaos." I think the world is quite literally organized chaos, and as a DEI professional, I'm out here trying to heal the world through my practices. That's chaos. So it's something that I know. It's almost like it might be my trauma response to it though, that I'm kind of drawn to it because I think I can fix it, or I need to be around all these other things. Because if I'm running and you running at the same time, we all over the place. But if you running and I'm sitting still, I can figure out how to catch you or how to stop you. So it's what I know.
Random question, not on the docket at all. You've mentioned multiple times that you enjoy solving problems and that you're a problem solver. If you
Mhm.
had to give me a percentage of people in the world that you think are by nature and genuinely problem solvers, like for the sake of helping others, what
Mhm.
would that number be?
Surprisingly high. I feel like there's 65 to 70% of problem solvers. Let's go with 70. We'll just go 70% of the world of problem solvers, but 30% of them are not good at it.
Okay.
So that then makes the effective problem solvers the minority. I'm in the effective group
Okay. Yeah.
because
I
I
like it.
think
Yeah, I like that. And I was like,
some
70 is kind of
problem
high.
solvers
It feels high.
70 is kind of high, but when you realize what I say, 30%, I say I like math, so I hope this ain't wrong, but the 40% that's left, right? We'll
Yes,
get
yes, yes,
the
yes.
addition and subtraction together. But the 40% that's left are like effective problem solvers. The other group are problem solvers that like to problematize things. They want to solve a problem by making more problems. Baby, we ain't getting nowhere. Calm down.
No, that's real. And yeah, that's valid. That about tracks. If I answered before you gave that breakdown, I probably would have ended somewhere around 40. Definitely would have been in the minority, but it would have been, 40, something of that nature. Um, but yeah, so you alluded to it earlier, so I'm going to assume that your answer is yes. But do you feel like you are currently enjoying life right now? Like
Oh,
genuinely
yeah.
enjoying life?
Yes, with every fiber of my being, with every hair on the top of my head, with everything in me, absolutely enjoying life right now, which terrifies me.
Mm,
Trauma response, I need a little bad, sprinkled in. And I was telling my therapist this one time, like I have what I had called anticipatory anxiety.
mm.
I'm expecting the other shoe to drop. If things go well for too long, like we don't live in a perfect world. So I know that there's going to be a bump along the way. It's just like, is this a bump? Is this a Chicago pothole? Like, what are we navigating out here? What's really good? So that makes me nervous. But oh, absolutely, I'm kicking it. I'm about to be in my what is my now best season of the soon to be 34 years.
That's what's up. I admire that because I don't think that I am right now.
Okay.
I'm not disappointed with life. I don't think that I'm extremely sad about it. But if you're honestly asking me like, am I enjoying it? Because for me, I don't know. I've been told it could potentially be a Capricorn thing. I don't know, right? I feel like with where I am and not being where I want to be, and feeling like there are still some things relatively in my control within
Mhm.
that, I don't feel like there's anything kind of worth celebrating right now. And that's not saying that I don't understand that life should be celebrated, but it's kind of hard for me to celebrate myself or pat myself on the back when it's kind of like I feel like I'm just doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, granted, people pushing through and doing the bare minimum should still be applauded because some people, unfortunately aren't able to do that for themselves, right? For a multitude of reasons. But I struggle with, how do I celebrate myself now, appreciate, like really appreciate the small wins, and still
Mhm.
enjoy life going through this kind of survival mode season without feeling like I'm prematurely kind of basking in, something, or celebrating something, because I feel like I haven't reached the places I feel like, not so much that I should have by now, but places
Yeah.
I definitely expected to be, and places I feel like I could be if things were different. Some, like I said, some things in my control, some things not. But really, really interesting for me. But I would say I don't think that I'm genuinely enjoying it right now.
Let me ask you this. I hear you say something. How much does humility play into your enjoyment for life?
In the sense of, like,
If I heard you correctly, you said you weren't like enjoying life right now because of survival mode or some other things, or you feel like you don't want to prematurely celebrate something that should be a general expectation, right?
mhm.
I hear that, and I've been there, but I wonder how much of that is your like humble personality saying, "Well, not me yet." And the reason I push back on that is because I'm very much a, well, this is my spotlight. So I mean, you can stand in it with me, you can get the hell out the way. But I'm going to enjoy the good, bad, and indifferent of every phase of my life. And you just kind of presented that a little more humble to say, I'm gonna wait my turn.
Yes. So that is a thing for me. I very much feel like when I am supposed to when I'm supposed to be, like, take that next step, when I'm supposed to be out of this era and fully in the
Mhm.
next era, like, I'll know, and that'll happen. And if it was supposed to be right now, then it would be right now.
Yeah.
And in a way, and I mean, we've had talks about this as it pertains to qualify specifically, but you know how I feel about that, like from a business and brand standpoint of, like, I know that at its foundation, it's something really strong and the message is something people can get behind, but not seeing the returns consistently or even intentionally to a degree from others. It's like, in a way, it's like changing my expectation. And for that reason, I guess that's also why I struggle, because it's already like, okay, I don't want to have the expectations of other people. Um weighing too much on me. But I also don't want to expect so much of myself that I never feel like I'm succeeding, because I'm just supposed to be great 24/7. So the humility aspect in that sense, from a kind of wait my turn, from a not try to force myself into the spotlight, like that's definitely a part of it for me for sure. But I want to get to that point. I want to get to a point where I feel like I can more confidently sit in like I feel like I've said like yo I'm me and nobody can do what I do, but I haven't really been the confidence behind it has been fleeting. Like I say it with conviction, but I'm not 100% confident in like standing on that at the end of the day. Like in a way, like I say it with conviction, but I'm still kind of like, y'all agree, right? Like, yeah, y'all do agree. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of that. So yeah, I feel like that's the. I hope that answers it. But yeah, I think the humility does play a role.
No, it does. I mean, take this and run with it if you want to, but add a little delusion in your life.
Hmm.
Everybody could stand to be a little delusional because exactly to what you just said, I think the thing that pushes it the step further is the fact of saying, like, why not? Like I can do these things, or I should be able to do these things. And it's not to say you go and oh, I want to fly, and then you go and like, jump off of something and splat. Like, don't do that. That's too delusional, right? But to say like, well, why can't I go and do these things? You don't know if you don't try. And I think some of this, I'm obviously speaking from experience. So it's not to say like everybody's going to experience these things, but because I have failed so many times, because I have lost so many times, because I've experienced things that have been less than desirable, not even really putting forth effort anymore. Like I know in my mind I'm going to do fill in the blank. How I'm going to do it, I'm not quite sure of that yet. So maybe a little discipline in there, but I'm heavy on the delusion. Like, why can't I do it? And I should be able to. I'm going to go and get what's owed to me, and I believe everything is owed to me. Some people are going to think that that's cocky, but I just feel drawn to the universe. I feel drawn to what I think is for me, and in that, I'm like, yeah, it's gonna happen. I just accept that I'm a late bloomer. It might not happen when I want it, but it's gonna happen. So in that regard, I stopped trying. Like not to say that I gave up, but hell, life is too hard to be trying to figure that stuff out. So I'm just chilling.
That's very real. The late bloomer comment, I definitely feel like resonates in something that I hope I can kind of just embrace because it's it's kind of like it's not never, it's just not now, right? And I think that that sounds good, and when you hear it, okay, yeah, like that sounds great. But in practice, in reminding yourself of that on a regular basis, I think that can get tough because after a while, it goes from not now to well, why not now? Because at some point you start to think that well, what am I doing or what am I not doing that's not equating to it not being now in some capacity. But I think that just goes deeper into delayed gratification. That goes deeper into it being your time, your season, all of that, for whatever your definition of success or taking another step is. But yeah, yeah, no, that's good. That's good, man. That's a lot of good stuff. A lot of really, really good stuff.
Real strong for a second right there. That's good muscles.
So I thought about something earlier. So you know how you and Boy got the joke of it's a cross with
Hmm.
my chest because clearly y'all think I've been in the gym. But what I realize is what I don't like about myself currently is it's like it's a cross up here, and then under here is like, well, why is it something under the cross? Like that's what I don't like about where I'm at in this particular juncture. Like I want it to be it's a cross, and I want you to be able to go down the whole thing and say it's a cross like she did in the play. I don't want you to be like, oh, it's a cross, and you can hear like, oh, this ain't no cross. You know what I'm saying?
That cross
This
right now.
talk about we go from a cross to oh, you had the Last Supper, didn't you? Like I don't, I don't, I don't. Gotta figure something out. Gotta figure something out.
We all got a starting point. So maybe like, slow down on the push-ups and add a couple crunches.
It's not even that. I have to eat better. That's what it is.
It's 100% your diet because the things that I have been ingesting and mouth harassing in my kitchen is not allowing me to get to the shape that I would like.
Oh, seriously.
I had cinnamon rolls last night, three of them,
I had Zaxby's twice this week, so
right out the air fryer. I just nom them shits down. Like
gotta do better. Eating habits are gonna be better, and since the start of new year for me. Eating
Yeah.
habits are gonna be better in 2024. So
Starting fresh in March for
you hear me? Okay. But that has been another episode of the Just Checking In podcast. Real quickly before we go off, if y'all don't peep this shirt, this is Genesis. This is my sister's merch. If y'all don't know who she is, Aaliyah Danielle, amazing musician, amazing vocalist, amazing all of that good jazz. Her debut album Genesis is out now on all streaming platforms. You can also check out her website. I will either add it to this video or it'll be somewhere for y'all to see it. But yeah, go get you some merch. Got t-shirts, crew necks, tote bags, the whole 9 yards. Go have a ball. But yeah, until then and until next time, we'll catch y'all next week when we check in again. Peace.